Most people try to fix problems in their garden one thing at a time, whether that's weeds or yellowing or not enough water, the issues growing plants too small, plants don't look good, the fruit is rotted, and it all comes back to one thing, and that's the soil. So soil is the foundation of everything. The organic matter is what supports plant growth, is what supports animals, it's what supports water holding, it's what supports the germination of plants. It all comes back to soil. If we can fix our soil, a lot of those other problems go away. For so long, agriculture has treated the soil as a sponge that we can spray chemicals on that then goes on to feed the plants and make the plants grow. But the truth is that the soil is a living biology. It's a living organism. And the worms, the microbes, the organic matter holding moisture, it's all working together to feed the plants that grow in that soil. It's not the soil is the foundation. The plants don't just grow. They're fed and have their roots in the soil. That's where all the nutrients comes from. It comes from that cycling of nutrients that happens inside the soil and the air, that exchange. But all of that comes back to having healthy soil. If we don't have healthy soil, we don't have healthy gardens, we don't have healthy animals, we don't have healthy people. All that comes back to remediating the soil and making that the most organic matter, the most nutrient dense, the most happy that we possibly can, then everything else will flourish. Bare soil is the sign of a problem. So oftentimes we'll till and plow just to have this almost sterile seed bed. And we want the organic matter in the soil. All of that comes back to building of the system. So the mulch, the cover crops, the organic matter, the chop and drop, all that comes back to keeping water in the soil that helps in that exchange of nitrogen and building a healthy, biologically alive soil base. When we fix all these things, it really creates the healthiest environment for soil. And the easiest way to do that is just by slowing down on the tilling, adding more mulch, adding more organic matter through cover crops, through chop and drop mulching, all the things that we've said before. But nature abhors bare soil. This is why we see as soon as something is bare, it doesn't take very long for weeds or pioneer species. It's because nature wants to put a forest there. And why we have locust and redbud appear, then Virginia pine, then as that falls, then 100 years later we have a thriving oak forest. It's all because of the succession of nature trying to remediate that bare soil. When there's bare soil, there's a problem. So composting is an essential part of that system, whether it's intentional that your kitchen scraps go into a pile, or it's systematic where we take chickens or goats or cows through the system or chop and drop. We want to build the system so it's easier on us, but regardless, the outcome is the same. We're adding organic matter that slowly degrades over time, that increases the fertility in the soil where we want to plant plants that we're doing. It's all about composting, whether we do it as a single function or as a byproduct of the system. But constantly, things are dying, things are breaking down, and the new life becomes more abundant because the old stuff has been broken down and decayed and then added organic matter to the soil. This has been happening since the earth was created, and it's why we had such fertile soils up until the past 50, 70 years when we started using fossil fuel based fertilizers that kind of depleted all that stuff. This is what we're trying to build back with regenerative design, particularly the systems that we create. If you look back 10, 15 years ago onto the early garden footage of us in the garden, we had this heavy duty Virginia clay, and it's good for growing, but it's even better for holding nutrients once you get things remediated. And we had a hard time germinating stuff. We had a hard time having the large vegetables. That's because the roots had difficulty permeating through that heavy clay soil. So as we broke that up with cover crop, chop and drop, adding that organic matter layer by layer, and then as it decays, just the forest does, we change that hard Virginia clay soil to a much richer, blackish color. It's because we've added more organic matter to the thing. Now we have much easier time, much less tillage is involved, much less broad forking. The soil kind of crumbles in your hand and it's very nicely. But that's the power of adding organic matter, doing it year after year after year, starting where you are. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now, getting to work to remediate your soil. We've really changed that whole garden through the terracing, the hugelkultur, the tilling forking and the broad forking, that soil has changed, and we've really increased the fertility by increasing the organic matter, all naturally. Never once have we put commercial, fertilizer on there. It's all organic stuff that comes from chopping and dropping and building those systems of regenerative design that make it better and better year after year after year, and working with nature in our design process. For us, in adding organic matter, animals have been a really important part of that. Integrating animals into the design is a great way to add organic matter, add fertilization, but it doesn't come without some problems. The biggest one is overgrazing and compaction. So much of agricultural practices now with tilling and big tractors and all that stuff adds compaction to the soil. Animals can do the same. If we leave them in one area too long, chickens are really bad for this. They will compact the soil, and there's a lot of weight per square inch resting on that soil, and that makes it hard for root crops to grow, because the soil is now compacted. It's harder for those roots to break the soil apart. So we have to be really intentional in our animal integration. And for me, the timing is really important, but also the rest time and the time off. So typically in the fall, we'll bring, and our garden is all done, we'll bring goats through, and they'll eat a lot of material, and then they'll poop, they'll leave that behind, but they're eating it, and we're controlling their movement through the intelligent use of electric fencing. So they don't have free range over the garden. They're eating this place bare, and then they're moving on to the next section. And by the time that they're done, the whole place is clear, but we're making sure that they're not adding too much fertilization, too much poop in one area, and they're not leaving the weeds. Animals will eat everything if they're confined in an area, but if not, they're going to just go and eat the plants that they want, and then they're going to walk around to the next place, eat the plants that they want. And so they'll leave a lot untouched. And through intelligent rotational grazing, that's how we can add organic matter back to the soil and have the animals pay us to do it. If we're paying for a brush hog, if we're paying for a flail mower, if we're paying for some other way that uses fossil fuel, we now have the expense of the tractor, we have the expense of the fuel, the maintenance, all the things that come along with it, the insurance, the equipment to move it around. That equipment has to get here, and it has to get to whatever property that we're managing. So we're paying for a tow truck, or we're buying a truck and a trailer. All these expenses add up. But if we're just pushing animals through the landscape, a lot of that expense can be recouped. And at the same time, we're getting meat at the end of the deal. We're getting eggs at the end of the deal, and it's adding to that systemic abundance that we craft through regenerative design. The awesome thing about regenerative design is it can happen at whatever scale you choose. You don't need super large acreage to have a lot of productivity to feed your family, your community, your friends, all the people around you. It starts whether you're in a raised bed doing compost, whether you're on a little bit larger scale, now you've got some chickens or goats, or even on super broad scale where we're grazing buffalo. However large of an area we choose, we can be as productive as we are wherever we stand with the resources that nature gives us. That's how regenerative design is different from, say, commercial farming. We're trying to reap a little bit from the landscape while making it better year after year after year. So whether you choose raised beds or buffalo, regenerative design, make sure that your family is taken care of while reducing your workload, while reducing your expenditure, giving you more and more abundance to feed everybody that you care about. That's the power of regenerative design. We've put all this stuff into free resources down below. If you like this information, if you want more of it, click the links in the description box, because we have so much free information for you. It won't cost you anything. Just click it. Download, whether you're interested in chickens, market gardens, rotationally grazing of animals. It's all there, and it's all for you to increase your abundance, to share with yourself, your family, and your community. You can't afford not to get that information. Please take advantage of that. That's why we put it out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, visit us in the comment section or at sustainablehomestead.com.